menagerie of creatures, naming them after the leaders of the nation. Theodore Roosevelt, a particularly hungry kitten, and George Washington, a kitten of noble stature, found themselves at home amidst the luxury. Ellie Mae saw no distinction between the animals of the woods and the inhabitants of the city. To her, all were part of the same tapestry. Meanwhile, Jethro, convinced that his own intellect was the key to the city's salvation, occupied himself with the prospect of becoming a judge or an architect, his eyes wide with the wonder of a world that seemed to hold endless possibilities. He wandered through the streets, observing the grandeur of the monuments, believing that every stone and pillar was a testament to the greatness of the people he had come to help. The climax of their Washington tenure arrived when Jed, emboldened by his success with the White House, turned his attention to the Capitol building. Princess Sitting Hawk, ever the stoic figure, held court in her teepee, her presence a constant reminder of the heritage of the land. When Jed offered to purchase the Capitol, the negotiations were swift. The deal was struck, and the funds were transferred. Each time, Honest John guided the process, his eyes gleaming with the thrill of the maneuver, while Jed remained steadfast, believing in the inherent goodness of the process. Yet, as the days passed, a curious change occurred. The relentless kindness of the Clampetts began to weigh upon their companions. When they encountered Honest John and the princess in a moment of candid truth, the weight of their own sincerity acted as a mirror. The confidence man and his partner, accustomed to the cynicism of the world, found themselves unable to cope with the pure, unvarnished devotion of the mountaineer. Jed's offer to return the funds, his genuine desire to see the nation flourish, and his inability to fathom a world built on deceit began to dissolve the very architecture of their scheme. The moment of departure arrived with the same quiet dignity with which they had entered. As the family prepared to leave, the city of Washington remained, a place of power and history, forever touched by the simple farmers who had tried to buy it, not for themselves, but for the people. They had come with a dream of cleaner air and a gesture of national pride, and they left with their spirits intact, their kindness having unintentionally dismantled the most complex of deceits. Sitting together in the terminal, looking out at the sky that seemed just a little clearer than when they arrived, Jed looked at his family. Granny was fussing over her knitting, Ellie Mae was cradling a kitten, and Jethro was staring out the window, dreaming of his next grand invention. They were going home, back to the hills that understood them, back to the life that had shaped them. The millions were still there, the bank was still full, but the memories of the marble halls and the teepees of the District of Columbia were what they would carry with them. The world might be complicated, filled with people who spoke with forked tongues and minds that turned like gears, but the Clampetts had a compass that never failed them. It was a compass forged in the honest work of the land, calibrated by love, and set toward the simple truths of a life well lived. As the plane climbed higher, leaving the Capitol behind, Jed leaned back and smiled. They had done their best, and for a man who measured success by the peace of his heart, that was more than enough. The adventure was a chapter in a long, winding story, one that would be told around the hearths of the mountains for years to come. It was a tale of a man named Jed, a simple mountaineer who found himself in the heart of the world, and in doing so, proved that while the world might try to change a man, the true essence of a person remains as constant and clear as a mountain stream. And as the landscape of the Capitol faded into the distance, replaced by the rolling greens and rugged peaks of their home, they knew that they were exactly where they were meant to be. The smog would remain for others to fight, the monuments would stand for others to admire, but the family was together, and that, in the grand calculus of existence, was the only treasure that truly mattered. The hills welcomed them back, the trees whispered their names, and the quiet beauty of their life resumed, a steady, rhythmic pulse in a world that never stopped moving. They were the hillbillies, the people of the soil, and they had walked the halls of power without ever losing their way, leaving behind nothing but the echoes of their own good intentions and the enduring warmth of a kindness that had no price. The sun was beginning to dip behind the rolling hills of the Ozarks, casting long, golden shadows across the humble cabin where Jed Clampett sat on his front porch, whittling a piece of seasoned hickory. It was a peaceful afternoon, the kind where the air smelled of damp earth and pine needles. Beside him, Granny was busy scrubbing a cast-iron skillet, her movements brisk and efficient. Young Jethro, a strapping lad with a frame as sturdy as a young oak, was busy chasing a stray chicken, his laughter echoing through the trees. Little Ellie Mae was nearby, whispering gently to a baby raccoon she had rescued from the woods. Life was simple, predictable, and deeply rooted in the traditions of their ancestors. The tranquility was interrupted by the distant, rhythmic rumbling of an old truck laboring up the dirt path. It was Jed's cousin, Honest John, a man whose reputation for fast talking was only matched by his questionable business ventures. He pulled his dusty vehicle to a halt and climbed out with a wide, rehearsed grin. "Well, howdy there, Jed," Honest John called out, tipping his hat with a flourish. "I see you are busy as a bee, as always." "Howdy, John," Jed replied, his voice calm and melodic. "Just whittling a bit. What brings you all the way up this hollow?" Honest John's eyes darted around, flickering with a nervous energy that seemed to vibrate off his very person. "A matter of great importance, Jed. A matter that concerns the future of our planet, no less. I have been doing some heavy thinking about the smog that is choking the life out of the cities. It is a scourge, a blight, a tragedy." Granny paused her scrubbing, wiping her hands on her apron. "Smog? You mean that heavy air that makes folks cough and their eyes water? I heard tell of that on the radio. It sounds like the work of the devil himself." "Exactly, Granny," Honest John agreed, seizing the opening. "And I, being a patriot and a man of vision, have decided to dedicate my life to ridding the world of it. But alas, the fight is long and the cost is great. I need brains, Jed. I need the kind of raw, unvarnished brilliance that only you and your kin possess. And, if I might be so bold, I need a bit of capital to get the wheels of progress turning." Jethro, having finally caught the chicken, ambled over, his ears pricking up at the mention of money and brains. "Are we talking about a real big fight, Cousin John? Like a wrestling match or a boxing tournament? Because I have been working on my muscles." Honest John chuckled, a sound that lacked true warmth. "Not quite, Jethro. This is a battle for the very air we breathe. And it will take $700,000 to make a significant dent in the problem." $700,000, Jed repeated, slowly setting down his whittling knife. "That is a heap of money, John. Where would a man even find that much cash?" "It is safely tucked away in your bank account, Jed, and I am the man to deploy it for the good of all mankind. The President himself would thank you for such a noble gesture." Granny narrowed her eyes, ever the skeptic. "Now wait just 1 minute. Mr. Drysdale at the bank is the one who keeps our money. He is a fussy man, always fretting about where the cash is kept. If we go taking out $700,000, he is liable to have a fit." "Let him have his fit, Granny," Honest John urged. "This is about saving the world. Jed, imagine the legacy you would leave behind. You would be remembered as the man who brought blue skies back to the people." Jed looked toward the horizon, his expression thoughtful. "I reckon we have been blessed with plenty, John. And if this money can help folks breathe easier, I do not see why it should just sit in a vault gathering dust." Inside the cabinet, a small, furry creature known as Elmer scurried about, his presence a constant, comforting rhythm in the life of the family. He was, as Jed often said,